It is your June homeowners update. Today we're going to be talking about all things insurance. This is a long video, but look, it's one of those videos where if you are a homeowner, you should watch because all of this can impact you. And knowing this information can save you money, heartache, and pain. Trust. So if you're new to the channel, if you're not, say it with me. I'm a mortgage lender licensed in 50 states. I've been doing this for 18 years. My team's one of the top purchase teams in America. We've been helping people across the country for a very long time buy houses, but also stay in those houses. And homeowners insurance is a big deal. I actually lived in Sonoma County during the Tubbs fire, and a lot of my clients were impacted by it. So let me cover what topics we'll be covering today so you know what to stay tuned for. We're going to talk about two things you should do every single year. We're going to talk about what you need to know about your insurance before you do a remodel or construction project. We're going to talk about making sure that you have enough insurance and why you want to do that. We're going to talk about claims. And finally, we're going to talk about what happens if your insurance drops you and you can't get any insurance. Okay, so it's a lot, but I'm going to try to condense it, but this is important information. Okay, so every single year, there are two things you should be doing regardless of where you live in the country. Number one, do a video of your house. This is something I learned in California. Because of evacuations and fleeing so often, I got really good at this, and it tracks to every single part of the country. What you want to do is you want to walk through every single room. You want to look at the wall. This is a piece of art by XYZ. It's a print. It's this. Here are frames of my family, pictures of my family. I bought these frames at Pottery Barn, right? Wherever you bought the stuff from, anything that cost you more than the bare amount, you want to name drop. And the reason is that if something ever happens to your house, fire, hurricane, flood, you will get the most from your insurance company if you itemize. Having a video where you go through and see all this stuff is going to help you do a better job. There's no way you're going to remember everything in your house without this. So when you go through the kitchen, this is my, I'm just coming up with stuff, guys. I don't cook. This is my KitchenAid processor. This is my Toshiba, do they even make microwaves anymore? I don't know. Microwave, this is my Samsung refrigerator. This is my GE, this is my Wolf. You know, open up the drawers. How many spatulas are there? Like, you don't have to know exactly, just open the drawer so you have a visual reminder of what was there. And you may be like, Jen, who cares? Guys, spatulas are expensive. I'm not kidding. Can openers, they're like $25 now. All of this stuff that you've bought over the year adds up. And if the worst is to happen to your house, you want to be able to itemize, and having this video is going to be critical. Go through your closet, show the clothes brands, show the tennis shoes, you know, show how many bicycles in the garage, show what type of cars. If you did any updates or upgrades to the house, show it. Go outside. I want to see your patio furniture. I want to see everything because all of this has a cost, okay? Really important. And you want to do it yearly because things change, but also if, you know, push comes to shove, you want to be able to show your insurance company, here it is. This is everything. I'm legit, okay? Number one, so yearly video, no matter where you live, go through, talk through all the items you have. If you're extra type A and you love a spreadsheet, itemize. Yeah, and look, when you buy stuff, big purchases, add it on there. You know, barbecues are expensive. Pots and pan sets are expensive. Make it a habit because if something happens, it'll be great. If you get robbed, it could be helpful as well. So hopefully you never need to use that video, but you'll have it as your safety card. The other thing is you want to shop your insurance yearly. Now, look, there's certain parts of the country where you're very limited on the insurance you can get because it is a higher risk part of the country. However, that's not the bulk of America. The bulk of America is not super high risk. And what happens is every single year, automatically your insurance is increasing. Whether you have an impound account, meaning the lender's collecting monthly for your insurance, or you're paying it separately, you will see your insurance increase. So it is a good idea to shop yearly. The worst thing that happens, guys, is they say you're getting a great deal. The best thing that happens, you get a lower premium for the same coverage. So really make sure you're doing that yearly check-in. I've talked to my clients about Dwan. Rate, the company I work at, has another company, Rate Insurance. That's right. We're creative with the names. Anyways, Dwan works over there. He's an insurance broker. Use whoever you want, guys. But if you want to call Dwan, 252-419-4446 is his number. He's happy to answer your questions, give you a competitive quote. He's also the one I called before I did this video to make sure some of this information I was giving you was good and helpful. So definitely get a yearly quote. The other thing that we're going to talk about is construction. Okay, this is something a lot of people don't know. I knew this because I'm totally paranoid about insurance. So paranoid. Once you see people's lives destroyed and they don't have enough money to rebuild their house because they don't have the right insurance, you get paranoid. So here's what you need to know. If you're going to be remodeling your house and the house is going to be uninhabitable for over 30 days, you need to call your insurance. Often they're going to want you to get a builder risk policy, or they're going to have endorsements for permission to do the work. Would I personally do a big construction project without my insurance permission? No. I don't want to end up in a situation where a builder gets hurt or something collapses. I'm trying to make a claim and they're like, you should have told us. So the basic rule is that if it's over 30 days that the house is uninhabitable, you need to contact them. Personally, I would contact them no matter what. Better to be safe than uninsured, okay? So that's important. The other thing that Dawn and I talked about were roofs. Roofs are something that we see a lot of. And, you know, a roof, you're not necessarily going to be out of the house. So is it something you have to contact your insurance about up front? No, if you're still going to be in the house, it shouldn't be as big of an issue. But once that roof is complete, at a minimum, you do want to make sure your insurance knows, because that can reduce your premium, okay? There's some stuff you can do, like adding a new roof, that makes your premium lower. Florida is the only state, but apparently if you replace the water heater in Florida, that can help with your premium. Florida's the only state, he said. So that's for you, Floridians. The other thing is, like, look, if you replace a 20-year-old HVAC or AC, you want to let your insurance know. If you, let's say you're still living in the house, you replace the countertops yourself with marble, and before it was linoleum, tell them, okay? Now look, that's gonna make your premium higher, but you want to be properly insured. And that's the next thing on here, is making sure you have enough insurance. So when property values were going up, I was literally calling my insurer. My insurer's Chubb, that's who Rate set me up with years ago, to let them know, like, hey, my value's going up. Do I have enough insurance? Do I have enough insurance? Do I have enough insurance? And yeah, my bills were going up, guys. And you may be like, Jen, like, what are you doing? Why are you telling us to increase our insurance? It's because what I saw with the Tubbs fire, I saw so many people where they had never increased their insurance, but the cost of everything had gone up so dramatically. Now, insurance companies on their own do incremental increases with the cost of inflation, but when you have huge jumps on the cost of lumber and materials, your insurance is not necessarily taking that into consideration. And after watching so many people not be able to rebuild their home, have to leave the state and the area because they didn't have enough insurance, that's something I would definitely say you want to make sure you have. You want to make sure you have enough insurance. So if, for instance, let's say the house has carpet and you replace it with new carpet, both were from Home Depot, is that something that you would notify them? No, it's the same as what you already had. But if the whole house was carpet and you replaced it with wood, guess what? That makes your house more expensive to replace, and I would tell them so that you have enough coverage, okay? Really important stuff. You need to look at your insurance company as your friend. And I know that that's really hard. I know that's really hard because you see all the stories where it's like the insurance company dropped them, the insurance company did this. But you want to make sure you're working within their boundaries and that you guys are on the same page, because if push comes to shove, you need them to be there, okay? The other thing was claims. So I was talking to Dawn about this because I had a client a long time ago, and her insurance, she had a suitcase stolen from her car. She talked to her insurance agent. They're like, oh, your home insurance covers this. Don't worry, just make a claim. So she makes a claim. Then somebody drives into her house. I'm not kidding, guys. They drove into her house. And so she makes another claim because there's a car in her living room, right? It's not her fault. She didn't drive into the house. And then the work that gets done on her house is not done correctly. So she makes a third claim. At that point, she gets dropped by the insurance and she has to get insurance from someone else. No one will touch her, so she has to get, I call it exotic insurance. Her premium went from, at the time, $2,000 a year to $15,000. And you're like, but none of it was her fault, except for maybe the suitcase, but someone stole it. That's not even her fault, right? That's what sucks about insurance. So look, in her situation, should she have made a claim when someone drove through? Yeah, the work not being done correctly, absolutely. Suitcase, I wouldn't have, and look, would that have been the differentiating factor? It's a big word, guys. Who knows? But my message to you is this, would I make a claim on my house for $1,000? No. And that's something you want to think about when you're setting up your insurance as well. If you're a first-time home buyer, a lot of times they set you up with the lowest deductible possible. If I'm buying a house, I'm now doing the highest deductible I can, right? I've stacked my savings. I've been good at that because I don't want to make a claim unless it's too big. And if you follow this channel, you guys know I had to make a claim a couple years ago because my New York apartment, someone drilled, I'm not kidding. They were working on the roof, not my roof, it's a building. They drilled into my apartment and flooded it. And it was hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's when you make a claim, okay? So really be mindful of that, because if you have an insurance agent that's like, oh, well, it's $500, just make the claim. If you have the money sitting in your bank account, I would be definitely very mindful. And it's one of those things. So it's unfortunate too, because you're like, well, if I have insurance, what is it good for? Honestly, truly, it's good for if something catastrophic happens. It's not good for Miami-Dade is a great example of a county where insurance is stupid expensive, even in areas not near the water. And it's because so many people have made claims in this county, it jacked up the prices for everyone. You don't have as many insurance carriers. Parts of Texas are like that too, because you'll have neighborhoods where roofers drove through and they're like, here's how you do a hail claim to get a new roof. Did the person actually need a new roof? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. All of those areas, everybody's paying more now because of all the claims. So I do think you want to be mindful with the claims. I feel like I'm actually going through this a lot quicker than I expected. Okay. Let's talk about forced insurance. This is a big one. So forced insurance can happen two different ways. So let's say that you're in a part of the country where all of a sudden the insurers drop everybody, okay? If you have a mortgage, the mortgage company is going to force insurance. So you may be like, well, I can't even get insurance. How can they? There's always a way. It's going to be more expensive. Of course it is. You're now in an area that nobody wants to touch. The mortgage company needs the mortgage protected. When you signed up for a mortgage, you said you'd pay for insurance to protect yourself and the mortgage. So the mortgage companies have these other avenues where they can get high risk insurance. They'll force insurance on the property. Look, honestly, it's kind of a good thing. I'm not gonna lie. It's kind of a good thing because I was thinking about the LA fires recently, and, they were talking about how State Farm dropped so many people and how was that all going to work out? And I was sitting there going, well, if they had a mortgage, the mortgage company would have forced insurance on the property. And sometimes they'll go retroactive on it. If you don't have a mortgage, there's no one to force insurance. And there's a lot of parts of the country that are higher risk, parts of Florida where people are, they bought the house, maybe they paid it off, maybe they're just rich and bought it with cash and they don't have insurance. But with a mortgage, I haven't seen an instance where someone was dropped and the mortgage company didn't force insurance immediately. Yes, it's more expensive, guys. Now, Here's one thing. I'm sorry, I need water. Let's have it together. Okay, hydration's important. Okay, so forced insurance. Now look, a lot of the clients that I work with, they have what's known as an escrow account where every single month they pay their principal, their interest, their taxes, and their insurance. Great. But there's a lot of people who don't do that. You know, when I set up my mortgages years ago, I didn't do that. I kind of wish I did, honestly. But at the time I was like, oh, I'll just pay it separately. Make sure you are reminding yourself to pay it. Check auto pay. Like for instance, I have insurance due on a property in like a week. I have auto pay set up. Honestly, truly, after this video, I'm gonna check and make sure everything's perfect. Because here's the thing. If I forget to pay that bill, I could end up with forced insurance, which is more expensive. They're not gonna go, oh, Jennifer, you could actually have a really good deal there. We shopped these 12 providers for you and we got you this. No, they're gonna force whatever's easiest for the lender on me, and it's gonna be more expensive. So my job, since I don't have the lender collecting my money, is to make sure I pay my insurance. Now, what can be annoying about this, I know, but what can be annoying about this is like, you know, every year from my mortgage company, I get a note that's like, hey, you need to show us that you have insurance. And I'm like, it's Chubb. We've already covered this. I've had the same insurance for like 10 years. Like nothing's changed. But I have to provide them proof of insurance every single year. Otherwise, they can force insurance on me. So if you're getting something in the mail that's like, hey, you need to show your insurance. Show your insurance, okay? Don't go, well, I got the house. The lender knows the insurance. Look, every single year. And most of the systems are pretty darn easy now, okay? And look, not everybody hits this, but it definitely happens, and you do want to make sure if you're getting those letters in the mail, don't ignore it. Show proof of insurance. Because here's the thing, sometimes people get those letters in the mail and they realize, oh my God, I forgot to pay my insurance. I don't even have insurance, okay? So when you get those letters, yes, it's annoying to do the extra work, but it could save you from a mistake, and it's just part of life. If you really hate it, you can always ask your lender to add an escrow account. We can collect your insurance for you. We can collect your taxes for you. But just remember to do that, okay? So look, I hope this video was helpful. This is all about homeowners insurance. Once again, questions, guys, on insurance, feel free to call Dwan, 252-419-4446. Dwan's super cool. Just literally say, I saw you on Jen Beeston's channel, and he'll go, okay, got it, right? Because if suddenly someone's calling, asking him 50 questions, he may be like, what? But if you say it's my channel, then he'll be like, that tracks, okay? And look, if you guys are like, oh, Jen, should I refinance? Please call me. Watch out for the text messages. Lenders have AI impersonating people calling you now. If you're thinking, should I refi, should I not, give us a call. We'll tell you if it makes mathematical sense for you. We're here for you. We're not here to churn refis. So 786-933-2077. Thanks for watching.